The Retroid Pocket Flip was the very first of these sort of retro emulation-based handhelds that I decided to order right when it was available to be ordered. With the other ones in the past, I've kind of waited a little while and then jumped on afterwards. There was something about this device that said to me, you need to order this thing as quickly as you possibly can. You need this thing in your life. And so I did that. Of course, I've already posted my review on this channel, and the spoiler there would be there are very few problems with this device. I think that it's very, very good. The fact that it runs Android is a big plus to me. The performance is quite solid, and I absolutely love the form factor. And I think that that's a big part of why I was so keen on ordering it so quickly. It harkens back in a weird way to one of my other favorite handhelds of all time, the Nintendo DS, or more specifically, the DS Lite was my favorite of those devices. Now, unfortunately, it appears as though the Retroid Pocket Flip may be sharing a similar problem as the DS Lite. If we jump over to this post on the Retroid subreddit, you will see this post by the Lazy Cycle, not even a week into owning the Flip, and I already have a crack by the hinges. You can see this crack here. Let's open this up and zoom in a little bit. You can see right there, there is a crack on the hinge of the device. Of course, those of you that loved your DS Lite back in the day, if you used it for any amount of time, you probably had a very similar thing occur on that device as well. As one of like the fatal flaws of this device. Now, seeing one of these crack is not super shocking, but we need to see a pattern. So let's go into the comments here and we'll start to see more. This user here says to pair a bunch of people already. I have the exact same crack in mind. Same exact position and size. Here's another one. I had the same thing happen to mine. Reach out on the Discord and they will take care of it. So at least there's one person that was able to get this taken care of by Retroid, but another person with the same problem. Here is another user with an image attached with the exact same problem. It's literally in the exact same place, which does lead me to believe this is some sort of a defect that may become common with these devices. And obviously, we could continue going through these comments and we could continue finding more and more examples of this very same problem. But at a certain point, that becomes a little bit pointless. The big thing to understand here is that this does seem to be a manufacturing defect. And that means it could become a relatively common issue with this device. Unfortunately, this sort of changes my recommendation on this device. I really, really do enjoy this device. But if you're looking at one right now, it might be in your best interest to sit back and wait and see just how prevalent this issue becomes and how it is taken care of. If you've already got one and perhaps you're beginning to see a crack like that, my recommendation will be similar to what we did way back in the day with the DS Lite, and that is to go get yourself some sort of an epoxy or perhaps something like a Gorilla Glue. Be very careful because you don't want to actually glue it in such a way that your hinge can no longer open. But just a little bit of something like that on that crack may help prevent it from spreading or growing any larger, because over time that should occur, and eventually you may have, like with the DS Lite, little chunks of that plastic actually falling off, which is a bad thing. Now, as of recording, I don't have any issues myself. My hinge seems to be totally intact. I can see no evidence of this occurring for me. I'll keep you guys updated on this in case that does change. The only issue that I have is a relatively noticeable scratch on my device just below the D-pad. I don't actually know how this occurred or even when it occurred. I remember seeing it very early on. It may have actually even came this way. I guess I could go back to my unboxing and see if it's noticeable there, but it's really not too big of a deal for me. At any rate, guys, disappointing news for sure to share, but I definitely had to pass this along. I'll drop a link in the description down below to my full review of the device. You can get a full picture of what I think about it. If you want to see more content just like this, subscribe before you go. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friend.